What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Novichenko Whips YouTube channel. Today we've got a quick video on some maintenance updates and then a oil catch can review on the BMS or Burger Motorsports oil catch can that I installed probably a month or two ago now. Something I'm doing first is just taking the BMS air intake filter off and giving it a good clean. It's been, dusty summer here, driving a lot of back roads, and so I just wanted to make sure it's as clean as possible. I use often this K&N power cleaner, and then of course after this will get washed from the inside out and dried. Give it a light layer of this on the outside and install it back in. A good idea will be also to vacuum nicely this box. Seems to me that the scoop is doing its job. So if you've seen my video where I installed that little scoop, technically should be bringing in some fresher air in this direction. I do want to do some research, maybe figure out something where I can shield that cone a little bit more. I understand the intake does kind of just flow in here. It's a wide pipe, but all of this area gets hot. Hot side is here, that's where the turbo is, that's the intake side and charge pipe side, but still everywhere gets pretty hot under this engine. Let me go ahead and wash that out, and then I'll get back with you when I pull off the bottom piece of this catch can and see if it's been catching oil. Inside there you can see the other end of the PCV, and no major oil that I can see in there, but it'll be evident once we get that off. So I have not yet looked inside the can pretty much ever since I've installed it. Review wise, it's a nice kit. It's kind of expensive compared to, let's say, other generic catch can kits, but it fits really nicely in this already crammed engine bay. The one minus is you can't unscrew the bottom without, loosening up the mount, similar to, I'm sure, other cars, just again due to clearance. But I'm very excited. I have not looked at this thing before recording this video, so we're kind of going to be taking a first look together. It's a small can, like the bottom half comes off, but I guess because the top half has a lot of intricate pieces that do the filtering and air oil separating, right? Trying to do this with one hand. Come on. 3 days later. Hey, I mean, it's pretty dry, which is good. That means the factory PCV is doing its job thus far. Let's look at the underside of it. See if we can see any oil residue. No, it's pretty dry. Overall, I'm still a big fan of catch cans. Good added security or insurance for your engine. I'll put it back and we'll see what happens in the next couple thousand miles. Thanks. Something that this video is quickly turning into is an investigation, I guess, into my tensioner pulley and the tensioner itself for the main, I guess, drive belt, serpentine belt. There's one main belt here. Looking at it, the belt is not in bad condition considering the look of it, but look at this pulley. It's almost like it has uneven, strange wear marks. It looks like the belt has been changed, at least, because the Torx hole there that you put your Torx key in to do some loosening of this to take off the belt has some marks on it. And so I'm thinking, I have the kit, I might as well change this idler. Sometimes when the car warms up and I'll look under the hood, this thing will be slightly moving, vibrating, and that's, I guess, a sign of wear, and you don't want that busting. while you're driving, because that'll be a bad day. You never know where this belt could go or what it could wrap around. So let's go open that kit and see what's in it. Let's see what we have up in this care package from FCP Euro. We have the tensioner assembly. Comes with this nice pin. So it takes a Torx T60 in there, and pulley looks nice. I don't think this is a OEM, but it's like a good OEM replacement according to FCP Euro. I'm pretty sure the real OEM replacement's like 3 times more expensive. They send you the replacement bolt. This one here uses a E12 Torx socket. Don't use a regular socket, you'll strip it, as I probably was observing in the car over there. And then, as I mentioned, the T60 reverse Torx key, if you want to call it that, also stripped over there. So I'm going to have to tap it in lightly with a hammer and then find something that I can use like a pin over in the car to hold it while I remove the belt. This is a real OEM replacement. I know BMW uses Continental for a lot of their stuff. So brand new belt. And good thing, they send you a replacement pulley, like an idler. Also, that sits right there, down there. That one looks okay, but I see some wear on it, so might as well do the whole thing. This car is literally right now at like 100K miles. So I'm not sure if that's factory or been replaced maybe once in its life already. But as I mentioned, the car will warm up and that thing will stop vibrating. There's just, I'm sure, like a metal spring in there. And so when I start it, I just see that pulley dance around a bit like this. And you don't want that. You know, you don't want it to fail one day. Who knows where you'll be. So let's get it taken care of. Okay, so quick update. I ended up using a Torx T55. This T60 fit in there, but because I think that thing was pre-stripped, I had to grab a T55, and this is a 1/4 inch driver or 1/2 inch driver. Yeah, 1/2 inch, not the 3/4 inch. And what that allowed me to do is grab like this end of a jack handle, put it over that thing so that my handle was sticking out here, and I carefully used, you know, leverage, and my fingers weren't in there. Got to be careful. You could, you know, rip your hands open. This is from a previous thing, but definitely was rubbing again. And you see I used a little hex key to slide in there and hold the tensioner now, so that I should be able to remove this belt. Once I remove that, I'm going to pretty much unscrew this Torx bolt, inspect this thing, take it out, take out that pulley. Gonna pull out this belt, and we're gonna look at how it's orientated, or in which way it's orientated, and that will help us install the new one. I'll be right back. I have fished out the belt. It's common practice to install belts in the orientation that you are able to read the lettering and the numbers on it facing the car from the front, so like this. And that's how the new one will be installed. From this side, the belt looked okay, but looking on the back of it, I'm seeing, I don't know if it's designed that way to show that thread, but you know, it's not new. And so we're going to replace it. Let's check the number. Conti Tech. So it's not a Continental, but I'll compare the numbers and size-wise and just roughly see that they're the same. And pull out the pulleys next. Here's how it looks with everything taken out. The idler pulley, the tensioner pulley. The tensioner pulley assembly itself has kind of a way it's fashioned to where it rests up against that when you tighten it. And that would be this piece right here, this big ridge or rib. Here's the old one. Still quite hot. I mean, my engine's cooled down, but this thing, I grabbed it and it's so hot. But look at this pulley. It's kind of bad. I'm not sure what was going on. It spins somewhat okay, but yeah, this thing is worn. The bolt itself looks fine, but I got a new one, so I'll put in the new one. But you know, this is gonna go back in the box and I'll label it for the time being. Just label it as a used parts and not throw it away just yet, just to make sure everything works well with the new one. Here's the old idler pulley. The style of the bearing looks kind of familiar to me from like Japanese style bearings and pulleys. For example, what did I work on? The Subarus. This new one is more like metal, at least on the exterior. But the bolt looks the same, spins just fine. So we're gonna put that one in first, get it all snugged up. To take that one off, you need a T50. And so then we're going to probably test fit the belt and see what the best way is to get the belt around the main crank pulley, because this is an automatic. I don't think I can necessarily turn the whole assembly or turn over the engine by hand just to make sure the belt is fine, but I'm sure if I get the ribs right and it seats properly and I put everything in, it'll start up just fine. We'll find out soon. I positioned this and kind of hand tightened it, and then I'm going to take the reverse Torx, also finger tighten it. It gives at least a couple revolutions, and now it's seated. And now it's seated completely, and then I'll take my driver and snug it up all the way here in a minute. You don't want a tremendous amount of force, but you also want to make sure it's nice and snug, because this is going to be heat cycling with the rest of the engine. I'm sure I can Google the torque spec, but I'm going to try to match kind of what it was from when I was taking it off. That's pretty good. Just kind of nice and tight with one hand. I'm going to try it just with two hands. Not going to over tighten though. Just make sure it's good. Okay. Perfect. I think most of these are also spec'd per the Torx key or socket for, let's say, how much foot-pounds you can tighten them to. That's in place. Don't forget the little cap. When I was taking off the cap off the old one, I popped it off and it fell somewhere under the engine. I'll have to find that next time I do an oil change. Cool, so that is on. I think I'm gonna test fit the new belt just for comparison. So you can read it, and that's the way you're gonna insert it and orientate it. Fish it in there. It's still hot, especially this oil cooler. Man, keep burning my arm. Car's been standing for like over an hour with the hood open and everything. Okay, come on, buddy. You just gotta do one thing for me. If I wrap it around a couple of these other pulleys. Might get some help with the direction. That one looks fine. If anything, I'll just grab a flathead screwdriver, assist it down under there. We've got the top piece. Let's get the bottom. Ooh, it's toasty. Quite toasty under there. I think we are on. Good. Then it fishes out over here. It goes onto this alternator pulley. So you can see me sort of sliding it, and everything seems to be correctly aligned. I can see it easily sliding down there, and it's sitting on the alternator and the AC. Now for the fun part with the tensioner. Let's see if this method proves to work okay. Here goes something. First gonna slide this up in here. Hopefully without disrupting anything. So just checking for the correct way to install. And it pretty much seems that this is the only way that you can place the tensioner in there. So it gets stuck. It is kind of wiggly. That's why I'm gonna take it out and see if I can install it any other way, but I don't think you can. It's just this way. I'm kind of questioning this slight flop. So that what I'm going to do is take the old one, put it back, and test for that slight back and forth, just to make sure that's quote unquote normal. Here's the old one. Let me wipe it down, it's a little greasy. Here we go. Similarly, I'm moving it in there. Yeah, about the same. I'm sure once the bolt tightens it up, it's not gonna go anywhere. Interesting. Cool. Let's just put it in. What I'm also going to do is just check, make sure that whole mating surface is pretty clean. Reach in there and just wipe on the machined flat mating surface. Yeah, there's a little dirt. Much cleaner now. Cool. Guess it's better to be cautious than just throw things together and sometimes have to do it twice because it's not fun to do it twice. You don't want to be like those guys that say, we do it nice because we do it twice. Not the best motto. Stay. New bolt. Some people would probably use maybe a little bit of Loctite. Some people probably would say otherwise, use some anti-seize. I'm just gonna probably go with it as is. I don't think you need Loctite. It's there's not movement in the assembly, there's more movement in the spring of it. And inspecting the old bolt, there's no Loctite, no anti-seize, so we'll just go with that. Here's the E12. Gonna work it in there a little bit. See what we've got. Since the pulley will be pushing that way, making the assembly, you know, torque the other way, I'm going to pre-torque or pre-push the assembly that way so that then I don't tighten it, and with time, for example, it have that ongoing tension. So I'd rather push the assembly in up to the wall or to the ridge that it will be continually pushing on. That way you're not just hoping that this bolt is holding all the tension, but the ridge itself. So pushed it on the bottom, and now I'm going to tighten up that bolt. Go easy at first. Make sure everything goes smooth. Similarly, when I was taking this off, the torque on it was not huge. All the ribs are still on. I'm sure I'll drive it a bit and then I'll just recheck the torque on it a little bit later. Let's see, just nice and easy. It's pretty tight. And for the fun part, to pull out this pin, we have to again put in our T55 or T60. Let's see if the T60 fits on this new version without any stripping. Yeah, that should work. Put that guy in. Give it a little extra tension. Trying to be careful so I don't strip my fingers. Done that way too many times. So I'll put in the T55 with the smaller driver, but I'll use my handy bar here for some easy leverage. Whoop, saw that move, and there goes our pin. I guess I might as well do an oil change today since I've dropped a couple things in there already. So we're looking at how it's tightening. The tension is there. Zoom back in. The tension is there. I'm just going to, one more time, just because I'm myself, check the torque on the bolt. It's kind of an important bolt. Okay, we're going to throw the intake on and start it for a minute and see how that tensioner behaves. Whew. I'm sweating over here on top of this engine, but I'm not complaining. I like the warm weather here in Washington. So last comment, I probably should not have used one of my beloved hex keys, because now I got to take it out to use it in the future for other stuff. I would have probably put like a nail in there or something, but I'm gonna probably go jam this in my vise and try to use my method again of tensioning this, pulling this out, and putting something else in for storage. Or if you're gonna throw it away, I guess just pull it out, let it turn all the way to this knob where it probably stops, and you're good. Let's start her up. We're gonna spray this with some of this K&N air filter oil. I usually don't go to town on this. I just give a quick layer. And then any excess I wipe off. I just don't like it all greasy, but pretty much like that. What this does is catch any tiny particles of dust that the filter material itself won't catch. Some of these filters are strictly dry filters, but I think a little bit of this oil stuff won't hurt it. When you put too much, you don't want that, because then your MAF sensor, which is right here, could get some of it on it and start reading incorrectly. So thus, you don't want to just drench it with this type of oil. But we're going to throw it back in and start up the car and make sure everything's ready to go. Here we go with the startup. Last check. well, that's it. That's my 100K mile belt and tensioner service. Hope this helps you out. Stay tuned for more N55 335i content. It's a stage 2 tune at the moment. I'm planning to upgrade the intercooler. I have an inlet. The other side of the charge pipe most likely I'll do. And we're gonna go to stage 2 plus, and we're gonna start experimenting with some ethanol mixture because I know those tunes are available through MHD, so why not? I have a 85 fuel pump not far from me that I drive by often, and so we're just gonna keep having fun, but want it to run reliably. So I'm a big guy for maintenance. Next video we'll also do an oil change. We can record that. I have a magnetic oil plug, definitely recommend those. Take it easy.